Class. Sure. Theory mostly we completed. So yesterday we started with shift. So basically, let's say configuration మీరు ఎప్పుడైతే ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్స్ చాలా ఉన్నాయండి మీ దగ్గర సర్వర్స్ ఆ సర్వర్స్ని మేనేజ్ చేయడానికి చాలా ఈజీ ఉంటుంది షిఫ్ట్. లెట్స్ మీ దగ్గర 20,000 సర్వర్స్ ఉన్నాయి. మీరు ఎవ్రీ టైం ప్రతి సర్వర్కి వెళ్ళేసి స్టార్ట్ చేయడం కానీ స్టాప్ చేయడం కానీ ఏదైనా పోర్ట్ నెంబర్ వేరే నెంబర్ని లిసన్ చేయడానికి అవన్నీ కాన్ఫిగరేషన్ చేయడానికి ఈజీ అనమాట. నేను వీడియోలో ఆల్రెడీ ఒకసారి మీరు ఆ వీడియో జస్ట్ లైక్ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ ఓన్లీ థియరీ in the first class complete. So you will practice. So first. So basically, in chef the configuration, I'll totally have 3 components. So yesterday we discussed, right? What were the 3 components? Plugins. There is no plugins configuration. Client. Workstation. Enterprise chefs. Right? We have 3 components actually. Yesterday we discussed, right? We discussed about resources, right? Recipes, cookbooks, right? These are all soft components of your chef actually. But when you are trying to set up your chef on your infrastructure level, you need main 3 components. One is called your chef server, or generally it's also called enterprise chef. Right? The second component is called workstation. The third component is your nodes, all your infrastructure servers. Right? So let's keep it like this. Workstation, right? Today we'll start about that, right? So let's say this is your chef server, right? And I told you that we are going to have something called like workstation as well, and all your nodes. Let's imagine this is node 1, node 2, 3, and n nodes. Number of servers which are there. Now, when we are working with, I told you all the policies where they are going to be there. Where are the policies going to be there? In chef server. I mean, like policies are rules, right? Basically, those rules are defined under chef server. Right? Let's say this is my chef server or enterprise chef. This is called a workstation. And you got your clients. Let's say this is my node 1. Something like. So all these nodes are my infrastructure servers. Simply, let's say I got like 10 machines which have spilled up on my Google account. All those 10 machines are considered like my nodes. In these nodes, I can install anything I want. Let's say if I want to set up database servers, web servers, application servers, it's up to me. Right? Now, when you are working with chef server, right? I told you that chef server has something called like all your environments, roles, organizations, users, everything is going to be created under chef server. Right? Now, basically, what is the purpose of workstation? Now, I told you there is a program which runs on my nodes. What is that program? No. Program. There is an application which runs on my all the nodes. Yesterday we discussed, right? No. So yesterday, if you remember the diagram, let me check. So we discussed, just check your notes. You will have something called like chef client, isn't it? What is chef client doing? Basically, what is every node will do? Basically, it has something called like an application called chef client. Right? Every node would have chef client. Right? Chef client, what it does, it will ask your server whether it has got any policy or not. Right? Policies are nothing but rules, I already told. So let's say if my web server should listen on port number 808080, or let's say what is the document, all those are policies. Now, those policies where they are present, actually, I told you that we have a greater level of abstraction called books.
Cookbooks, recipes, resources, services, states.
Right. Basically, you have your cookbooks first. Cookbooks are nothing but collection of recipes. Recipes are nothing but collection of resources. Right? Cookbooks, recipes, and resources. Resources have state. Right? That state we are going to define under a policy. Right? Now, whenever chef client talks to your chef server, it will ask, do I have any policy with me? Right? Those cookbooks or policies, everything you are going to define under your workstation. Because this is code, right? I told you chef is your infrastructure as code. Now, if you are trying to convert your infrastructure into code, right? So generally, code is generally written by some IDs, Eclipse or Notepad++, Sublime Text, something like an ID. Now, in your case, workstation is your ID. You'll do all your development on workstation. You upload your development work to chef server. Clients will come and take that work from chef server. Right? Now, when you are working with these components, right, you need to understand what component you need to install on which machine. So, if you are working on chef server, right, you will install something called like chef server. Right? You have something called like chef server. This is the particular software which is going to be installed on your chef server. Right? And on your workstation, right, when you are working with your workstation, you have something called like chef DK, development kit. Right? So on my workstation, I need to install something called like chef development kit. It's generally called chef DK. And apart from chef server, here you need to install one more thing as well. There is something called like chef manage. Right? So you are having two components. In your chef server, you will install chef server and chef manage. Under your workstation, you will install something called like chef development kit. And under your nodes, you will set up something called like chef client. These three are mandatorily required when you want to set up your infrastructure with chef. Right? Clear? Now I need to have like 3 machines with me. Let's go and spin up 3 machines. What I'll do is like I'll create one more project. So I need 3 machines, right? And your chef server should be powerful one generally because it is going to control all your clients, all your nodes. So generally in real time it will be very huge, but for our particular scenario, I think 3.75 GB should be good enough. Right? If you want it to be somewhat faster, choose this version, 2 CPUs and 8 GB RAM. Right? So let's say, and naming convention is also very important because the communication also happens with the help of host names. Generally, when I give the instance name, that is taken like an host name, right? So that's why give some meaningful host name. So here I will say chef server, right? And I'll take 1 CPU and I'll go with CentOS 7. Yes, I'll put up my.
For Windows machine where we can get that.
No, you can generate it. Git bash. Use git bash. Say ssh-keygen. You'll get it.
First we need to install it.
Git bash, yes, we need to install git bash. If not, you can do something like puttigen. Even with puttigen, you can generate SSH keys. Alright, so I'm going with this machine. I'll create it up. And you need to go and install a couple of applications when you are setting up Chef server. So one by one we'll go. First we'll install Chef server and we'll see Chef, what is it? Development kit again. I mean like your workstation. Right. In the meanwhile, yeah, this machine is on. So copy this IP. It is very slow. If net is slow, Chef server will take a lot of time. Right. So I told you that what is the particular thing I need in my Chef server? What is the component I need? Chef server, right? I need to install Chef server in my machine. So I'll say Chef server. You see Chef server 2, the latest version. I'll click on this. You see, I got the latest version. You see, we are going with the install on premise, right? And you got a Red Hat 7 version. Just copy the RPM file. So I'm going to take this RPM file, right? I'll say once it's installed, I should be able to get this particular thing. Let's say wget and the RPM of my Chef server. See, I have that particular Chef server code. It's same like your Nagios code, right? You got this Chef server code, and it's very simple. All you need to do is like sudo rpm -ivh Chef server. Right? I'm just installing that particular RPM file. Now your Chef server, it has lots of dependencies. It installs Nginx as its front-end web server. You see, yesterday Nagios worked with Apache, right? Here your Chef works on the Nginx, right? It is going to install some Postgres SQL database. It will install Rabbit message queuing. Lots of components it will install. Chef is very huge actually. Can we? Ah, no. Your Chef is inbuilt with it. Yes. So once I install this particular package, right, it will automatically go and set it up everything. Nginx, RabbitMQ, Postgres, and what is a database. Everything it will install by default. This is Chef server has successfully installed. Right. Once you install this particular Chef server, right, you will get a command called Chef server CTL, like system control. Service or system control, where we are starting the services, right? Similarly, we are going to get something called like Chef. This one. chef server CTL. Right? Now, with this particular control, you got something called like reconfigure. This is a particular command. Now, what this does means it will go and set up all those things like I did. Right? I need all those prerequisites like my RabbitMQ, Nginx, PostgreSQL. It will go and configure everything. Right? Once I do that, you see it's slowly starting your chef client, and you see it slowly started. First, now it is going with the PostgreSQL, I guess. So it will go and set up all those particular processes which are required. It takes some time actually. If your internet is good, it will be done within 5 minutes like that. If it's bad, it almost takes some time, half an hour, 1 hour also. Now it is currently going with the database only as of now. And Chef is going to completely work on a Ruby language. I told you, right? So we are going to write some Ruby scripts. Now this will only set up your backend, right? But actually what happens, you need to see the front end of your Chef as well, right? That's the reason why it is installing Nginx. Now to get the front end part, we need to install something called like Chef Manage. I told you we are going to have two components, right? One is Chef Server Core, another is Chef Manage. Chef Server Core is for your backend part, right? And Chef Server, where is it? This particular Chef Manage is for your front end, right? This is for your front end, and your Chef Server is for back. You see now it's configuring in Linux. So once this particular process is done, we'll have something called like Chef Server CTL status. Same like your system controller. Once you start installing it, we'll check for status. Right? Once I check the status, I'll be seeing all the list of particular tools which got installed, like my RabbitMQ, Nginx, PostgreSQL. Everything should be up and running. And you see, it is going with the RabbitMQ. Anyone knows what is MQ message queuing? Can you tell me like what is the purpose message queuing? So generally it's like multiplexing. Now generally let's say if you take the example of your e-commerce applications, right? Now when you are purchasing something, in the middle of your order, your let's say network is on, or let's say there is something corrupted at the server side or your client side. Your transaction is stopped, right? Now without message queuing kind of things, you cannot save that state. You cannot have the acknowledgement like my payment received, right? That is the purpose of message queuing actually. In your microservice level, or let's say in your what do you say applications, where definitely you should get some acknowledgements, database kind of things, you definitely need message queuing kind of applications. In your earlier days, I mean like when your e-commerce started, right? In the beginning of your e-commerce stage, in that time, let's say if money is getting deducted, you will not know whether it's been deducted or not. With the help of message queuing, it's possible. You'll definitely get some acknowledgement with it. Yes. Right. So you have something called like tightly coupled, loosely coupled applications. In that particular thing, you will get this. If you are aware of something like Spring applications, they definitely use these kind of things. internally, right? Yep, it says your particular server has been configured, right? Now if I want to check, I can say chef status. Now if I run this, all the things should be up and running. Yes, it says my bookshelf, nginx, frost, there is something like expander, slot, postgresql, rabbitmq, redis, everything is good and running. If something is not good here, right, you need to run that reconfigure command again. Right? If something network is not good or something, then you get the problems. If you get it, just run the reconfigure again. Right? Now, basically it has set up, but you cannot go and access your chef server as of now. So you need to have something called like chef manage to be installed. Even if I go, what is the IP address of this machine? Let's say I'll just copy the IP and I'll run it. Now you will see, you will get that particular thing, but it says you cannot access that page. You say, because I told you, right, your chef also works on HTTPS based connection, SSL, right? So I'll say advanced and I'll say proceed to the site. Now you see, are you looking for chef server? What it says, you need to install something called like chef manage, and it's a free version, so you can only manage up to 25 roles in your free version of chef. Right? So let's go and install chef manage. It's very simple. What you need to do? Chef server ctl install chef manage. So I'll say sudo chef server ctl install chef manage. Now these are the two components that you need to configure in your chef server. Definitely you need to do this. Until unless you cannot go and work on your chef server. So once you install your chef manage, again you need to configure your chef's reconfigure your chef manage, not your chef server, because we already reconfigured your chef server CTL, but you need to configure your chef manage as well. Once you do this, then you'll be able to get your chef server installed. So is it installed? No, it's still running up. So basically chef manage is the one which will give you the GUI interface. Yeah, it says all these particular things are done. Now I need to go and manage my, like reconfigure my chef manage. So I'll say sudo chef manage control reconfigure. Right, once I run this, yeah, it says press any key to continue, just like I'll press any key. So we'll get some particular notification, and this is going to be opened in VI by default. So just select Q. If you want to quit, you'll say Q, right? So I'm just pressing Q here so that it will quit from this file. Right. Then it says press yes to make the acceptance agreement, right? So I'll say yes and I'll hit enter. Now it's going and reconfiguring your chef manager as well. Now once you do this, right, what you need to do is like you need to create an organization and user. I told you, right, in our first particular slide we saw that my chef is going to have some components, organizations, users, right, roles, environments, right? Oh, no, packages, those are resources, right? Those are, yes, these are the particular things we need to configure up, right? Right, so begin to start using, first you need to have at least one organization, and that organization should have at least one user. So we'll create an organization, we'll create an user as well. Right, it says it has reconfigured successfully, and if I go and refresh it, I should be able to see the chef right now. Okay. Let's give some time, it should come up. Yep. Right, now you need to come here and you need to create the organization and a user to get started, right? So it's very, like the commands in chef are very huge, so you cannot easily remember those commands. So what you can do is like always go with the help option, right? Cut your commands and use, right? So generally, if you want to create an organization, right, you got a command called chef hyphen server hyphen ctl, right? Then you need to say user. Let's say first create some user, right? Then I'll say user hyphen create, right? This particular command has lots of inputs to be given, right? So how you need to give is like just select hyphen hyphen help, and you need to run this like your particular source. Let's say I'll say something. Yeah, it says it should be root. So I'll go with the sudo chef server ctl, and I'm saying user create hyphen hyphen help. Now this particular command will tell you how to create the users, what are the parameters we need to pass. Right? Very important command. Right. If I go up, you see these are all the things I need to pass it up. So when I say user create, I need to give some username, first name, optional middle name, last name, email, password. Right? And I told you basically chef is going to work on your public and private keys as well. So when I generate this particular thing, right, what happens is like this process will generate the private key directly onto the screen. It will dump it onto the screen itself. But you cannot remember that huge files, right? I mean like that secret key. Can you remember that secret key? No, it's not possible, right? So what we need to do is like we got an option called hyphen F. You see what it is doing? So basically it will be writing the private key which is dumping on the screen to specific file. Right? We need to use all the specific options to get started. Right? So what I'll do is like I'll go with the same particular thing. I'll say chef server control user create username, first name, middle name is optional, so I'll skip it. I'll just give last name, email followed by password. Then I'll say where to store that private key by using the hyphen F option. Right? So let me copy it up. User create, and what's the first parameter you need to give? Username, right? So let's say I'll go with the admin itself, right? Let's say my first name is something like, if not I'll just give admin, not to confuse it, right? Last name and followed by some email address, right? Let's say something like admin at something like digital.com, right? Followed by password as well, right? So I told you that I need to create some specific password. So what I'll do is like I'll use the same password itself. I'll say the password is password only. Right? So I'm creating a user called admin, and the password for the specific user is password itself. And I want to store the private key as well. I'll say hyphen F option. Write that private, and where I want to write that private key is basically I'll put it in my etc chef, right? Let's say the username is admin, right? I'll say admin.pep. Pep file, it's like basically a private key which is used to log into your systems. So AWS uses. If you want to log into your AWS account, right, you use PEM files. If not, just like try to do it like an assignment. Find out the difference between PEM file and PPK file. Sorry? Yes. AWS. We generally use that in AWS. So I mean like the problem is if you use PEM file, right, we cannot tell which user is logged into the machine. Isn't it? మీరు పెన్ ఫైల్ నాకు ఇచ్చారనుకోండి వేరే వాళ్ళకి ఇచ్చినప్పుడు అందరికి EC2 యూజర్తో లాగిన్ అవుతుంది, మనం ట్రాక్ చేయలేము ఏం జరుగుతుంది. ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు ట్రాక్ వీ నీడ్ టు గో విత్ ద యూజర్ క్రియేషన్ విత్ ద PPK files. Right? So now it will go and create a user called admin and it will assign that pen file. right? If I say cat slash etc chef and min.pen, you see it will output that script. So generally I don't want to see that on the outside. So that's why I saved it to my file. Right? Now what I want to do is like, let's go and create the organization as well. Now we created user, right? In the similar fashion, we need to create the organization as well. Same command. So what I do is like sudo chef server ctl. So instead of user create, you'll say org create, and I'll say hyphen hyphen help. And what it does the same thing. So it says you need to create like organization short name. It says organization full name, right? And you need to associate a user. What is the user we created? Admin, right? We need to associate that user called admin. And this one also is going to throw you an private your PEM file. So the same thing. So I can say hyphen f and I can keep that private file. Right? Now let's see how I'm going to create it. So I'll say or create. So what it was saying some short name. So short name, let's say something like DL. Right? Let's say I want to give the full name. Let's say something like digital link. Right? And I want to associate the user. How I can use the associate user? Hyphen A. And what's the user I want to associate? Admin. And where I want to store my PIM file, I'll say hyphen F slash etc chef. Now, when you're giving the PEM file here, right, make sure that you give it with some notation. You always follow this notation. Short name followed by validator. Very important to remember. Right? And you say dot PEM file. Yes, it's like a keyword kind of thing. So anywhere you see, you'll have this validator. Organization name followed by validator dot PEM. Right? Once I do this, now it will create an organization as well. Now these two things are good enough to start with. Right? It created my organization plan. So let me go back to my chef server. Let me refresh it. And what's the username we have given? Admin. And the password was not admin. Password. Right? So I have given password. So admin is like this. My username followed by first name and last name. Right? If I sign in, yes, I logged into my chef server. And you see I got my digital link and I got the user called admin. Right? Now you see you currently have your infrastructure status. Can you see any nodes here? Why? Because we did not configure any nodes yet. Right? You see policies. Can you see any policies? No. You see like environments, roles. You see by default I told you what is the environment which is going to be there. I told you that by default we have default environment. Right? You see it has the default chef environment. But whereas all the other things you don't have anything. Cookbooks, do you see any cookbooks? No. Because did we write any cookbooks? No, right? That's the reason why you don't have anything here as of now. Now, if you want to write cookbooks or update policies, if you want to do anything, right? How you can do that? I told you. What is the other component we need? So if you want to write, sorry, development kit, right? And where it is going to be there? Workstation. Now you need another machine to configure. Right? You need one more machine to go with. Yours. Now let's say I'll create one more machine. So this is going to be my workstation. So let's say I'll keep simple thing. Let's say workstation. I'm not sure. Just 7. Center 7. నార్త్ ఒరిజినల్ లేదా ఓకే వేరే రీజన్లో బట్ దానిలో కూడా వచ్చి ఉండాలి అమెజాన్ లైనక్స్లో కూడా వచ్చిందా మనం చేసి ఇట్ షుడ్ బి పాసిబుల్ అమెజాన్ లైనక్స్ కూడా ఆల్మోస్ట్ సపోర్ట్స్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ కొన్ని సపోర్ట్ చేయట్లేదు మేవెన్ సపోర్ట్ చేయట్లేదు అలా సపోర్ట్ చేయనప్పుడు మీకు ఇంకో బైనరీ మెథడ్ మీరు టామ్కెట్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేశాను కదా అలా కూడా చేసుకోవచ్చు మీరు బైనరీస్ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకొని చేసుకోవచ్చు సో లెట్ మీ లాగ్ ఇన్ టు ద వర్క్ స్టేషన్ Now what is the component that I need to install in my workstation? Development kits, right? So let's go and work with the development kit right now. So you need chef DK. Generally we get chef DK. Right, I got chef DK here. The same version, you will have the same particular RPM file again. So Debian 8, Debian 7, Red Hat 7. So I'll copy up my particular RPM file. Go into this machine. Right, and I'll say wget download my chef DK as well. Right, and I'll say sudo -ivh chef DK. Right, once I install this thing, right, I'll get something called like chef generate, a command called chef generate. So we need to go and work with that particular file. Now once you do that, you need to make the connection between your workstation and server. How you are going to do that? With the help of PEM files. రైట్ మనం ఏం చేస్తున్నాం మీరు ఇప్పుడు అమెజాన్లో అనుకోండి అక్కడ ఉన్న పెమ్ ఫైల్ మీ లోకల్ సిస్టంలో డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకుని యూఆర్ అథెంటికేటింగ్ విత్ దట్ పెమ్ ఫైల్ రైట్ సిమిలర్లీ నేను ఆ పెమ్ ఫైల్స్ని నా వర్క్ స్టేషన్లో కాపీ చేసుకుని ఐ నీడ్ టు మేక్ ద అథెంటికేషన్ దెన్ ఓన్లీ ఐ బి ఏబుల్ టు మేక్ ద కనెక్షన్ ఇఫ్ నాట్ ఇట్స్ నాట్ వర్క్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ రైట్ సో మై పర్టికులర్ chef development kit has been installed right now you need to go with one particular command right so I'll say chef generate. There are like lots of commands you need to remember in chef right chef generate repo. I'll say something like chef repo, so it will generate a repository. Chef generate a repository chef repo. Once I do this, it will go and fetch everything. I mean, like I told you, right? Because I need to have something called like cookbooks, roles, environments, and everything. With this help of command only, you are going to get that. Now, it will generate something called like a chef repo directory. And if I say chef repo, you see cookbooks, data bags, environments, roles. So, whatever I need to configure, right? I need to configure from here. Right, cookbooks నేను ఏమైనా రాయాలనుకున్నా రోల్స్ ఏమైనా అప్డేట్ చేయాలనుకున్నా ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్స్ ఏమైనా అప్డేట్ చేయాలనుకున్నా ఐ ఆల్వేస్ నీడ్ టు డూ ఇట్ విత్ మై chef workstation. Why? Because it is like an IDE for your chef developer, right? Your chef developer will use development kit to write the cookbooks, right? Till here it's good, right? Now what you need to do is like you need to create one hidden directory here called .chef and you need to store those PEM files. right? So I'll say make directory under your chef repo, right? I'm going to create something called like dot chef, right? And hidden directory. It created some hidden directory with me. So if I say ls hyphen ln chef hyphen repo, yes, I have my dot chef. I thought I'll remove this. Right, I have my chef repo. Now what I need to do, I need to copy the files from chef server to workstation. How I can do that? SCP. So I need to make handshake first, isn't it? Then only I'll be able to send the files, right? So basically, in my workstation, I need to add the public key of chef server. Clear? So I need to have authorized keys here, right? So what I'll do is like I'll say VIM. I think we did not create any SH keys, right? No, there is only authorized keys. So I'll say SH hyphen keygen. So I'll generate my public and private keys. Yeah, because I need to copy this one, right? Cat dot ssh id underscore rsa dot pub. I'll copy of this. I'll go to my dot ssh authorized keys. I'll add it up here. Now my chef server can successfully log into this machine, isn't it? That's what I want to do. Let's check it out. So I'll say SSH Ravi at workstation IP. This is the workstation, right? So I'll copy it up and I'll try to log in. Yes, I was able to log in successfully, right? So I'll say log out of this machine. Right. I'm currently under chef server. Now what I need to do? I need to copy PEM files, right? So let's say what I can do, simply like SCP, where are the files? Slash etc chef, and under that I need both PEM files, right? I'll set the star.pem, right? And where I need to copy up username Ravi at the rate host IP, right? So this is my workstation IP, right? And where do I want to copy them? Sorry, colon slash
etc
no dot right. I need to copy into dot chef. So I'll say home. I'll say chef hyphen repo under that dot chef. Making sense? This is very important. If you don't do this, you can never log into that particular chef server. After you do this, we got like one more step that we need to do as well. Now it should be able to copy both my PEM files into that dot chef file. So I'll execute this. Now it's transferred both my PEM files into this system. If I go and check it out here, if I say -LA chef repo dot chef, and I should be able to see both my admin and DL validator.pem. Right? Now apart from this, you need to copy one more file as well. There is something called like knife configuration file. Because in your workstation, right, you are going to have a utility called knife. There is a utility called knife. With the help of knife only, you are going to do the work. Right? So basically, that knife is something you need to use and generate all your cookbooks, your recipes, your rolls, environment with the help of knife. Knife. That's the utility. So it's more like your chef related things. Like you have something called like supermarket, kitchen, like lots of things. Right? So how you need to do that is, you see there is something called like your username, right? Right, under that you have manage organizations. You go to your organization. If you click on this gear, right, you will see something called like a generate knife configuration, right? Just click on this generate knife configuration. You got some file into your local machine. I'll say keep it up. I need to open this file and copy the configuration. See, this is how that particular thing looks. So it has the information of my chef server and the node which is going to be there and the PEM file. That is what the information is there. So I just like copy of this file, I'll close this file, and I need to update that file under my .chef repo again. I need to create a file called knife.rb. I need to upload the same thing. So I'll say, yes, RB is extension for Ruby files. So I'll say vim chef repo dot chef. Under that I'm going to create knife.rb and I'll update this information. Okay, maintain with all. So it commented everything. Right? That's where your particular thing should be there. Right? So yes, you can just copy and paste. That's it.
Like a file movie.
Yes, you can do SCP also. But where do you need to do SAP from? From local machine. Yes, we can do that. Right? Because I know it's a small file, that's why I just like copy and paste. If it's a huge file, then we have like just did that. Right? I change those particular settings. Once you do this, right, now we need to run particular command to know whether your chef server and workstation are configured or not. Are they communicating with each other? Right? So I told you where is how the communication happens through SSL, right? SSL because it is HTTPS, right? So I need to run one particular command. So when you are running this command, make sure you are always under chef repo. If you run that particular command outside, it's not going to work. It will only work within your chef repo only, right? Now if I say knife, I told that I got a command called knife. Once I enable that knife.configuration file, right? Knife, then there is something called like client list. Now it will not work because it did not copy my SSL certificate set. Yeah, spelling wrong. Client. This says it cannot make the check, right? Because it says there are no SSL. Right. There are no SSL certificates yet. Right. Now how you are going to get that is you have a command called knife SSL fetch the certificates. Right. First we need to run knife SSL fetch. This particular command is going to grab your certificate, SSL certificate, and place it in your particular directory. Right. Once I done this, now it should be able to. Now you see, it has grabbed that particular trusted certificate and it has kept it under your .chef directory. And it says trusted search. Right? Now once it's successfully downloaded the certificates, then you can go and run the knife client list again. So I'll say knife client list. Now you should get that DL validator. Now you are successfully connected to that particular organization. Right? Shall we continue? Or if it's good, then we'll continue. If not, we'll stop it here. Because now we need to configure one more component. Node. So currently we configured two components, right? So what are the two things we configured? Server and workstation, right? So we were successfully able to go and configure this component, and we made connection, and to and fro we can able to talk to each other. Right? Now we should configure node. It's just like 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes. If you want, we can continue. We'll stop it here. Right? We'll just like continue for 10 minutes and we can stop. Because node is very easy to configure, but you need to create one more machine again. Right? So let's go and create one more machine. So when you are working with chef infrastructure, minimum of the minimum, you need 3 machines. Right? Now let's go and create one node. I'll give something like node 1 for this. Because I think my account is almost expiring, so I'll keep all the little resources. Right? Node 1. So I think like I'll go with the least memory. So I'll say go with center as 7. Did I change operating systems? Now it is configuring my node 1 as well. Once that is done, right? Only one single command, that's it. With one single command, you can go and attach your infrastructure. Right? Once you attach your infrastructure in your particular, right? Here you should be able to see the nodes. Let's go to nodes. Yep. So node 1 is ready. Let's copy it up. Specific IP. And what is the component that should be there in your chef clients? Sorry, nodes. Chef client. Chef client, right? We need chef client. So installing chef client is dead easy. You don't need to go and download RPMs and everything. Automatically workstation will take care of it. Once you bootstrap, right? Automatically your workstation will make sure that it installs all the required components in your clients. Right? So how you need to do it? So let's go to my workstation. Now who is running commands on which machine? Client. Right? So first you need to make the handshake between again these two machines. Right? Basically I'll just like generate SH key. That is from chef to, sorry, your server to workstation. From workstation to node, you need to do it again. Right? I'll say cd enter. I'll say SSH hyphen region. It should generate my keys. And say cat dot ssh underscore rsa dot bug file. Let me go ahead and copy it up. And let me go to this one dot ssh authorized keys. Right, we are coming from the workstation. Right, that's it. You don't need to do anything else. Right, now I should be able to log into that node 1 as well. Right, let's check it out once. SSH IP address of my node. Yes, I was successfully able to log into node 1. I'll log out. Now let's see how you can bootstrap. So generally connecting your machines is called bootstrapping process. The same thing we call in AWS as well, right? Spinning up machines as well as attaching some data, isn't it? You are installing something. The same thing is happening here. So whenever you bootstrap, you can automate that process. So whatever you are doing in the cookbooks, it will automatically come and attach itself. Right? There we have written the shell script actually. Here you can write the Ruby script. That's the advantage which you are going to get, right? So how you need to bootstrap your machines? So the same particular command, you will go with your knife command again. So throughout your workstation, you will work on something called like knife, 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 right? So one simple thing I can do is like knife, bootstrap, right? You need to give the IP address of your node. So what is the node I'm using? Node, yes, because that is what you want to bootstrap, right? Bootstrap. And what is the pseudo user we are using? Hyphen X, I know, plus Ravi, right? That's a username. Hyphen X is for the notation of username, right? Followed by node name. So your host name. What is the host name? Node 1, right? And this user is also pseudo user, right? So now this particular process runs a couple of things actually. Now, what Bootstrap basically does means it will go to your node, right? It will collect the entire information. I mean, like the state, the current state of node, right? What is the current state of node? What are the packages installed? What are the services which are running, right? What's the IP address of that machine, host name, A to Z, simply. This particular small process called Bootstrap. So how it is going to do is like internally in your nodes, when I run Chef client, right, with the help of this Bootstrap, there is something called like a system profile. A system profiler, its name is called OHAI. OHAI. There is a process called OHAI. It's like a system profiler. What it does means it will collect the entire information of your node. Yeah. Information in the sense state of your machine.
State of the node.
Exactly, state of the node one, right? And that would be stored under your chef server, right? It takes that information, your workstation takes that information, uploads it to your chef server, right? If not, let's check if we have any diagrams, because with the diagram it would be more clear. Yes, you see, from your workstation, right? Workstation, you connect it to your node. So what is node doing? It is collecting all that particular information and it is updating to your chef server. That is what your knife bootstrap command is going to do. Right? Host name in the name, we give like your host hyphen x. If you are using any password, right, you can give hyphen p. But the problem with Google is if you use passwords, it will block your accounts. That's the reason why I need to go with hyphen hyphen sudo option. But generally in real time as well, it's not generally a preferred way of doing with the passwords. You always go with the private and public key authentication itself. right? Which is more secured actually, right? So you understood it. So basically, it is going and it is registering your nodes there, right? So basically, like I told you, right? In the backend, it is going to run something called like OHI process. A process called OHI. It will collect all that information from your node. It will update it to your server. Now let's go and run this particular command. Let's see what happens. So once I run this, see what it says. Why it's saying like that? No. I told you one thing before. I should always be there under that chef repo to work with chef. Right? So I'm in my home directory. Right? So let's go to chef repo and I'll run the same command again. Now you see it's trying to connect to the node and you see it is installing automatically chef client. See it is downloading that chef RPM. Right? It's going and installing it up. Once this particular command has run successfully, you can see that entire node information in your server right now. Yes. Basically one command does. All you need is like just username and that host. Right. It says it has completed that particular. And you see it says node has an empty run list. Yesterday we talked, right? All the things we are going to update in your run list. Right. Now if I go and if I refresh, yes, I have my node 1 which is up around 9 minutes ago. Right? And you see, I told you, right? It will collect all the information. It was able to see that it was CentOS, its domain name, its IP address. And if I, yeah. No, this is an internal IP address. Never, your instances, they will never show public IP address. You'll only get private IP addresses. If you show public IP address, gone. Everyone will go and hit on it, right? And you see it was able to collect everything, the number of CPUs you have, right, the amount of RAM you are having around 512 MB, right, the IP address, MAC address, the operating system you are using, what's the version you are using, the type of virtualization you are going with, right, and what are the current host name of your system, right, the packages which you have in your system. It collected everything. How it is going to collect that information? It uses something called like OHI. There is a process called OHI in your machines. So if I go and run OHI here, uh, node 1, because information is coming from node 1 only, right? So it is something like your docker inspect command. You see OHI. It will collect that entire A to Z information of your system. This is the JSON format. Right, OpenLDAP, RPM Python, tar was installed. It's collecting every information and it's uploading to your chef server. Right? Alright? Fine. Today we'll stop it here. It's good enough for us. Right? Any doubts like today's session? Yeah, yeah. Nice. లేదు బూట్ స్ట్రాప్ అనేది మనం సర్వర్తో చేయము ఓన్లీ నోట్స్కి ఐపీ ఆఫ్ యువర్ నోట్స్ ఇప్పుడు అది ఎలా చెప్పాలంటే వర్క్ స్టేషన్లోకి వెళ్ళి వీ నీడ్ టు స్టార్ట్ వర్కింగ్ ఆన్ కుక్ బుక్స్ అంటే ఏంటి, రెసిపీస్ అంటే ఏంటి, రీసోర్సెస్ అంటే ఏంటి, టెంప్లెట్స్, వీ నీడ్ టు గో విత్ లాట్స్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్. అర్థం ఎస్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. బట్ ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటి అంటే మీరు స్పెసిఫిక్ ఐపీ ఉండాలి. మీరు కంటైనర్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తే ఒకటే ఐపీ వస్తుంది. కంటైనర్ ఎలా యాక్సెస్ చేస్తారు చెప్పండి. సేమ్ ఐపీ డిఫరెంట్ పోర్ట్ నెంబర్స్ ఉన్నాయి, బట్ ఒక్కొక్క కంటైనర్కి ఒక్కొక్క ఐపీ వస్తుంది. సో యాక్చువల్గా మీకు టూ సినారియోస్ అనమాట. డిప్లాయ్మెంట్ చేయాలనుకుంటే ఐదర్ యూ కెన్ యూజ్ షెఫ్ ఆర్ యూ కెన్ యూజ్ డాకర్. రెండు డజన్ మేక్ సెన్స్, right? Both are deployments. Can you see that on the deployment scene you got Ansible, Nexus, Puppet and Docker. Docker also you're using for deployment, and Ansible, Puppet, Chef, anything you can use for deployment. Chef ఎందుకు యూజ్ చేస్తున్నామంటే బేసికల్గా లెట్స్ సే యూ డోంట్ నో ఎనీథింగ్ అబౌట్ డాకర్, మీరు మైక్రో సర్వీసెస్ వాడట్లేదు, మీ దగ్గర ఓన్లీ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ సర్వర్స్ ఉన్నాయి, హండ్రెడ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్స్. నేను మాట్లాడుతున్నా చెప్పింది మైక్రో సర్వీసెస్. We talked about yesterday, right? Yesterday or day before yesterday? Day before yesterday. Microservices are nothing but, let's say, మీరు మాడ్యులర్గా చేసుకోవాలనుకుంటున్నారు మీ అప్లికేషన్. లెట్స్ సే ఇప్పుడు ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకున్నాం ఈ-కామర్స్ అప్లికేషన్స్, రైట్? ఎన్ని మోడల్స్ ఉంటాయి? చాలా మోడల్స్ ఉంటాయి. మీకు పేమెంట్ గేట్వే ఉంటుంది, ఇన్వెంటరీ ఉంటుంది, ప్రోడక్ట్ ఇన్వెంటరీ, సపోర్ట్ ఉంటుంది, రైట్? యూ గాట్ డిఫరెంట్ వర్డ్స్, రీఫండ్స్ ఉంటాయి, రైట్? డిఫరెంట్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ ఉన్నాయండి. ఈరోజు నేను చెప్పినట్టు రైట్. బట్ బేసికల్గా ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటి అంటే ఇక్కడ అవన్నీ కలిపి ఒకటే అప్లికేషన్. యాక్చువల్గా అమెజాన్ పెద్ద అప్లికేషన్లో ఇవన్నీ సర్వీసెస్ ఉన్నాయి. ఇప్పుడు అవన్నీ మీరు ఒక సర్వర్లో చేసే ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటి? ఒకటి పోయినా అన్ని పోతున్నాయి. మైక్రో సర్వీసెస్ ఏంటి అంటే చిన్న చిన్న అప్లికేషన్స్. పేమెంట్ గేట్ ఒక సర్వీస్, రైట్? మీ ఇన్వెంటరీ ఒక సర్వీస్, యూజర్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ ఒక సర్వీస్. ఇప్పుడు సర్వీస్ రన్ చేయాలంటే బేసికల్లీ మీకు ఏం కావాలి? ఒక మెషిన్ కావాలి. బట్ నేను ఈ నార్మల్ టర్మినాలజీ వెళ్ళాలనుకోండి, ఇప్పుడు నాకు ఇట్లా 25 సర్వీసెస్ ఉంటే 25 సర్వర్స్ ఉండాలి, విచ్ డస్ నాట్ మేక్ సెన్స్. అప్పుడు డాకర్తో మీకు ఏమొస్తున్నాయి? చిన్న చిన్న కంటైనర్స్ వస్తున్నాయి. ఆ కంటైనర్స్లో సర్వీసెస్ పెట్టుకుంటారు, రైట్? ఇదంతా మైక్రో సర్వీసెస్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ కంప్లీట్గా. మీరు అప్లికేషన్ లెవెల్లో అలా వర్తిస్తుంది, బట్ మీకైతే డస్ నాట్ మేక్ సెన్స్ రైట్ నౌ. క్యూబర్నెటీస్ అవన్నీ వస్తే దట్స్ నెక్స్ట్ లెవెల్. యాక్చువల్లీ మీరు అప్లికేషన్ని ఒకసారి అంటే డెవలపర్ దగ్గర స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది ఫస్ట్. ఇఫ్ దే ఆర్ కాన్ఫిగరింగ్, ఐ మీన్ లైక్ ఇఫ్ దే ఆర్ డెవలపింగ్ యువర్ అప్లికేషన్స్ ఇన్ సచ్ వే దట్ దే ఆర్ గోయింగ్ ఆన్ మైక్రో సర్వీసెస్ లెవెల్, అప్పుడు మీరు 100% యూ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ చాయిస్ అదర్ దెన్ డాకర్. లేదంటే మీరు ఏడబ్ల్యూఎస్లోకి వెళ్తే యూ హ్యావ్ సంథింగ్ కాల్ లైక్ వాట్ ఇస్ ఏ కంటైనర్ సర్వీస్ అని ఉంటుంది, అమెజాన్ కంటైనర్ సర్వీస్, అది వాడాలి. డాకర్ బదులు అది ఏడబ్ల్యూఎస్లో. గూగుల్కి వెళ్తే గూగుల్ కంటైనర్స్, క్యూబర్నెటీస్ కంటైనర్స్. లైక్ మీ అప్లికేషన్ బేసిక్లీ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ బట్టి ఉంటుంది. బట్ ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఇక్కడ చూస్తే మాత్రం ఇది బేసికల్గా కాన్ఫిగరేషన్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ కోసం. షెఫ్ దేనికి? మీ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ చాలా పెద్దది, మేనేజ్మెంట్ కష్టం అవుతున్నప్పుడు విల్ టేక్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ షెఫ్. బట్ షెఫ్ ఈజ్ వెరీ కాస్ట్లీ. ఇది ఓపెన్ సోర్స్ కాబట్టి 25 నోట్స్ ఓకే, బట్ జనరల్గా 25 నోట్స్ పెట్టుకోండి. అరౌండ్ 25,000 30,000 సర్వర్స్ ఉంటాయి షెఫ్లో. దే మానిటర్ ఆల్ దెమ్ విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ షెఫ్. Chef would be somewhat interesting. Chef and Docker. Docker is good actually. Right. Docker में बात से you have lot of scope. Docker? Docker is the chef. Containers create, but containers ని కరెక్ట్ గా వాడడం అనేది కూడా యూటిలైజ్. ఇప్పుడు క్యూబర్నెటీస్ ఎందుకు వచ్చిందంటే కంటైనర్స్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ కోసం. మీరు ఎన్ని కంటైనర్స్ క్రియేట్ చేశారు మొన్న? హార్డ్లీ 10 or 15. అవి కూడా తెలియదా? లెట్స్ సే మీరు ఒక 10,000 కంటైనర్స్ క్రియేట్ చేశారు. ఆ 10,000 కంటైనర్స్ ఒక 5,000 వచ్చి ఒక్కొక్క హోస్ట్లో ఉన్నాయి, ఒక 5,000 వచ్చి ఏడబ్ల్యూఎస్లో ఉన్నాయి, ఇంకో 5,000 వచ్చి గూగుల్ క్లౌడ్లో ఉన్నాయి. ఆ కంటైనర్స్ మధ్యలో ఎప్పుడు ఏవి డిస్ట్రా అవుతుంది, ఎప్పుడు ఏవి అప్ అవుతున్నాయి, ఎప్పుడు డౌన్ అవుతున్నాయి అని మేనేజ్మెంట్ కోసం. ఇప్పుడు షెఫ్తో కూడా నాకు అదే వస్తుంది. యాక్చువల్గా నాకు తెలుస్తుంది ఏ సర్వర్ ఎక్కడ ఎలా ఉంది స్టేట్ అని చెప్పేసి. కంటైనర్స్లో మీకు అలాంటివి కావాలంటే క్యూబర్నెటీస్ నెక్స్ట్ లెవెల్. So chef like need to do lots of things. It will take at least like another 4-5 days. We'll stop the session here.